Hi, and welcome to The Curling Show, the podcast that brings you interviews with the sport's top athletes and the people who shape the game. I'm Dean Gemmeland. With the U.S. National Championships getting underway this weekend, I decided to use a couple of additions to put the spotlight on some American players who will be in the mix. Here's the only guy to beat Glenn Howard in Edmonton last year. The 2007 United States men's curling champion, Todd Birr. Welcome to The Curling Show.
Thank you, Dean.
Todd, the 2008 U.S. Men's Nationals gets underway in tropical Hibbing, Minnesota next week. There's a lot of talk in this country about a so-called Big Five group of teams, but I think it's a fairly even field. How many of the 10 teams do you think have a legitimate chance to win?
You know, I don't think it'd be a surprise to see any of the 10 in the playoffs. But with that said, you did mention the Big Five, and I think it'd be a surprise not to see at least 3 of them in the playoffs. So for the other 5 teams, that doesn't leave too many spots available.
That's probably true. That's probably a good assessment. I was hoping you'd give me a Jeff Stoughton and say somebody has no chance at all, but I don't think I'm going to get that out of you this soon.
Not in case they hear me say it, right?
Right. Hey, with your team's win last season, you got a spot this year in a Grand Slam event. You participated in the Continental Cup. Give me your thoughts on playing in those 2 events.
It was fantastic. Continental Cup was one of the best tournaments I've ever played in. That was just a lot of fun. And
you know how much I love the Continental Cup, right?
Yeah, right. and the Slam event, that was actually our second Slam. We played at Port Hawkesbury last spring.
Right.
And the Slam event is certainly an education. Those teams are just, right now, they're the class in the world, and they're tough competition.
Do you feel the pressure when you're in those of trying to represent well in that USCA slot?
Not really. We actually kind of talked about that even last year at World. You got to kind of forget about the whole Team USA thing and just play for yourselves, which is what you've always done your whole career. And I think we do a pretty good job of that as a team.
They are tough events, and the guys in Canada have the advantage of playing in more of them and playing on that kind of ice a little bit more, too.
Right. Well, that's exactly right. I think and they play against each other, and like I said, their level of competition just keeps going up and up, and the rest of us are left to just kind of catch up.
Hey, that's a good point. I know Bill Todd, Hunter, your third, has said that he thinks that the top 20 or so teams in Canada have really distanced themselves. I think that's true. I think Canada is actually separating itself a little bit from the rest of the world again. I think the top 20 or even top 30 teams in Canada are better than they've ever been, maybe better than 5 years ago. Would you agree with that?
Yeah, I would think so too. I mean, I think it's difficult to make those kind of comparisons because the game has changed in the last 5 years and especially in the last 10 years. But yeah, it just seems like when you start talking about Howard and Martin and Madaw and Burtnick and Stoughton and everybody that I'm leaving out, that's an incredible field right now.
Through the top 10 in Canada is a real tough group. And well, at least the top 8 for sure. The other 2 might be a little more fluid. Hey, your team hasn't played an especially heavy schedule in the past. Was it an adjustment to be in a lot more events this year?
Not for me, I don't think.
Or did you wish you just played in more events in the past?
Yeah, we played a lot more events than we have in the past. But, I'll curl every chance I get. This is just a year that I was able to do so. It's certainly not going to hurt us. I think it's helped us coming into the Nationals. I think we're more prepared. We're more used to each other as a team. So, yeah, I'm really looking forward to it.
Last year was the first year for your whole squad together, right?
That's correct.
You had, I guess, probably. I'm going to guess you'd say you had an okay year on the World Curling Tour, notching some wins against named teams, but never maybe getting on a serious run like you might have liked to have. But you seem to be playing well now. You got through the Nationals, avoiding the challenge round route. How do you feel about the way your team is playing right now at this time going into Nationals versus last year?
I'm I can go both ways on that. I'm pretty happy with it. Although we talked about after the first round qualifier. We didn't lose a game. We came through it as easily as you can, really, and yet we didn't feel we played as well as we were capable of playing. I think, that's expectations for you a little bit, too. We just got to stay within ourselves and, just realize that, like you said, we're really just a second-year team and just hopefully make some noise again this year at Nationals.
Hey, lots of back and forth online about the U.S. playdowns format this year. I've made it pretty clear that I think it's a good system considering the number of curlers in this country, the geography, and the depth of the talent pool. One of the tweaks I think they should do is one that, in your region and my region, they had 2 pools, and I think they should definitely cross over. But what do you think of the system?
I like it. I have my criticisms of it, too. You've got to realize that the U.S. is a big country, and we have curlers spread across the entire, continent. It's going to hire, what a lot of people want is just one qualifier site, bring all the teams together, And I just don't think that's realistic in the way that the country's laid out.
Well, yeah, I don't think it's. I mean, there's no question, and I've said this before. There's no question the bulk of, by far, of the best competitive curlers are in the Midwest, but the game's growing the most on the coast. So to sort of leave it all in one event in the middle probably isn't going to go over that well in my mind. But
no, that's right. And a lot of people would, they're very concerned that we have the best 10 teams at nationals, and I think that's certainly a point. But if a team slips in that maybe isn't one of the best 10. That doesn't totally destroy the national format in my mind.
Yeah, that's my point. I mean, it is sports, and I mean, if you look at it this year, I think it really worked out that the best teams did get there, and you are going to have a couple of teams that slip in, but it's never been the thing is not set up to see none of the top 5 teams make it somehow.
Right, exactly. I think it's not perfect, but like you said, I think it's working fairly well.
Yeah, no system is perfect, but it's not bad. I mean, it really isn't. But anyways, I think you'd be the first to admit that your team doesn't look all that flashy on the ice, but you win a lot of games. Why do you think your rink works?
Little chemistry, I think. I think the players fit very well for the style of game that I like to play. You look at Greg Johnson throwing second, and he can just throw bullets, and he can move a lot of rocks, and we like to keep him conservative. We like to keep it defensive. But then on the other hand, if we need to make a move, I think Bill Todd-Hunter's strength is to play the soft touch game, and to have a person like that at third. I think we kind of got the best of both worlds right there.
Yeah, it sounds about right. I think from what I've seen. Finally, curling manages to get more serious sports coverage these days in the United States, but we're still a very niche sport in this country, and one that still a big chunk of people don't know much about. How do you think that will change? Huge question, really, actually, isn't it?
Yeah, I think it's just going to be a slow-growing process. I think we are making steps forward. You just see it on the streets. You talk to people. Like even 5 years ago, no one knew what curling was. At least now they know that it exists. And I think it's just going to continue to evolve. We're getting more people playing in arenas. And hopefully it just continues moving forward.
Yeah, I mean, if we can get facilities built. How's the membership at your club?
We're actually gone up. Again, like I say, it's a slow growth, but it is a growth, and it's been a pretty steady growth for the last 4 or 5 years. I think nationwide, that's really what, it's not going to be a big boom. We just got to keep building forward.
Right. I mean, that is the case. I mean, people get impatient, expect things to happen overnight. It is curling. And, one of the things people forget about curling, it still is the oddest-looking game if you see it for the first time. And you forget about that when you play it all the time, but the game looks absolutely odd when you watch it the first time.
Right, and the other big challenge we have to overcome is the facilities to play it in.
Exactly.
You can't just go out, and play it anywhere. You need a dedicated curling facility, and those are expensive, and they're hard to create.
All right, Todd, we enter the Runback. I'll give you a topic. You give me your thoughts on it in 1 to 3 words.
All right.
Speaking of growing the game, NBC's rock star reality TV show that may or may not be in the works.
Great.
All right.
I'd love to see it.
Why Canadians should try curling in the U.S. every once in a while?
Why not?
Bob Dylan.
Probably my favorite singer of all time.
That's perfect. You're going to Hibbing.
Exactly.
That's good karma for you. Bob Labonte.
Actually, never met him face to face.
Oh, really? Heck of a nice guy. I've never met him face to face either, but I've talked to him on the phone here. The most underappreciated person in U.S. curling.
Oh, wow. Terry Kozar.
Oh, the USCA. Nobody's offering up me. I asked Jason Larway the same question, Todd.
That was an obvious answer.
Yeah, I think, I'm setting you guys up and you don't even think about it. And finally, the World Championships in Grand Forks, North Dakota.
One way or the other, I plan on being there.
Good to hear. It's going to be a good one there. Hey, Todd, I always give everybody a chance to name their sponsors. I don't know who is behind you guys, but if you had some people, let me know.
Yeah, we have MEI Bank is one of our sponsors, Gold Gym. Nike has sponsored us. And, of course, the support we get from the USDA.
All right. Hey, thanks for your time, Todd. I appreciate it. Good luck next week in Hibbing. It should be I think it's a good field, and I think with Mark Shirk's ice, we'll see some great curling.
Yeah, I hope so.
That's Todd Birr on The Curling Show. Thanks for listening. Here's some all-Canadian black pudding.